Sweet, we're live. Okay, I think we should also just make small talk really for like the first 10 minutes until we get some like actual people in here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but so I'll save. Because I do want to like. I think we need to talk about the Lindsey Graham thing, and I also want to watch the full. Did you watch the Hassan Piker eulogy? I at least want to watch some of that here.
Some of it, yeah.
It was amazing with like the crabs and shit.
Hmm. Yeah. These people are psychos.
Which people?
Senators, congressmen.
They already swore in his sister, but again, we
Huh.
we we should talk about. Let's talk about our lives. What's
Hmm.
your what is Joe Messina's day to day like?
Oh God, I'm just working from home.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, which is cool because I got to move back to the city I love, the city of brotherly love.
Yeah,
Um,
we were talking about that.
yeah, saving a bit of money doing that. Uh, yeah,
I'm
all my
actually I'm actually gonna be down your way. I'm not gonna not in a way that I could like stop and hang out with you, but I am my wife her family's from Pennsylvania, and
mm,
so we're gonna be going down there for a family reunion this
nice.
weekend. That is packed real tight. It is. We are leaving early on Friday, and then we are getting up early on Sunday, and we are going the fuck back.
Yeah, yeah. That's quite a drive too. I
Hmm.
did it many times when we lived in Massachusetts.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've done it because my wife's family does live down in Pennsylvania. So we
Yeah. What?
I have done that. I'm sorry.
Oh, are they like near Philly or is it?
So her sister and her sister's husband, they live in Philly. Last not was it not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, like or just after Christmas, I made them get pho. Made everybody get pho, and we like drove around Philadelphia, like looking for like a decent pho place, and we and we stopped someplace. There was like a 2-floor H Mart right next to it, and we went to
Hmm.
H Mart, but but yeah, but yeah, no, I think where we're going is more like kind of mid Pennsylvania, mid to west, maybe more mid. It's like a few
Yeah.
hours into the state,
York, York or
maybe.
some shit. Yeah.
It's also back when I still did stand up. Oh, we got Inachu in the chat. You want to highlight the comment? Philly used to have a street where released crims would hang out for food begging. Hell yeah,
Used
you know.
to one.
But but crime doesn't exist anymore. Um, I completely forgot what I was saying before Inachu.
um, when you did stand up.
Oh, when I did stand up, I got plugged into like this circuit where I would sometimes get like gigs in like firehouses
Mhm.
in like western Pennsylvania. So I and me and a comedian, actually Ben Quick, a good buddy of mine, and
Hmm.
very occasionally I believe AJ Haypenny, another great comedian and just a good friend of mine. Um, we would like drive down together, and we would stay in hotel rooms and the like, and we would get like they'd put us up in a hotel, and we'd get paid a pittance for the
Yeah,
weekend.
that's sounds right for
But it
stand
was,
up.
yeah, but also, I mean, it really wasn't about the money with us, and we just felt like, what should we call it? So, okay, so I have a, I have a comment from Inachu that got that got caught by Twitch. It said, "Mister, you should get testes." I believe that's tested ASAP. I think you might be related to Wesley Crusher. Forgot his real name. Who's Wesley Crusher?
From Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, I'm not a. I know that you are a Star Trek guy. What really?
Yeah,
This is okay. So we're
Will
gonna.
Wheaton.
Oh, Will Wheaton. I saw him live last. I saw
Oh
Will
yeah.
Wheaton live. Yeah, actually, because I had never seen here. So I'm sharing. I'm going to share my screen. So this is Wesley Crusher right here. You think I look
That's
like
him.
this? Do I look like this?
You do kind of look like him now. Um,
This
because
is
he's got more of a like beard situation
yeah.
going on.
Yes, him with a beard. This is okay. Actually, I see it here, which is funny because my wife loves Will Wheaton. My wife is a huge Will Wheaton fan, and we saw Stand by Me for what was it, the 40th anniversary, right? And they went
Mm.
on tour and they did a show in Lynn, Massachusetts, and so I saw Stand by Me for the first time. And was in the room when Will Wheaton was the only adult on stage. The other two were Jerry O'Connell and what's his name from the Goonies. Again, just his life is completely crashed and burned since then. God, what's
Uh,
he would be so mad that I forgot his name. Let me see. Goonies actor or Corey Feldman, duh, Corey Feldman,
uh,
right? And so Corey Feldman and Jerry O'Connell just had this weird pissing match like the whole time, like just egos. Like Will Wheaton like wanted to talk about the movie. Will Wheaton wanted to actually like give people a show, and then it was just these other two just being absolute just psychopaths. And they kept showing a picture of Jerry O'Connell's wife Rebecca Romaine like in like a bikini and ogling her on stage. Like it was
Jesus. Yeah, well,
like it was such an unhinged. We ended up, I think, leaving before the show was actually like while they were still on stage. We were like, the movie was amazing. It was my first time seeing Stand by Me. And then
yeah, I don't know
like
if I've
a
seen it.
and then a week and a half later, Rob Reiner was murdered by his son. Like it was like
Oh, right.
I was like,
Jesus.
whoa!
Yeah.
I just saw Stand by Me.
Uh,
And I just watched these three dudes talk about how Rob Reiner, like, we both came up, or all three of us came up through the Hollywood system, and so many adults just, kind of want to just pull you, get claws into you and just rip you
yeah.
apart, and
Uh,
Rob Reiner was one of the good ones. He was, he protected us. He like made sure that our childhood was being preserved while we were on set and while we were yada yada yada, right?
mm,
And then a week and a half later, all of that shit happened, and it was just
Jesus.
like, what the fuck? I know.
That's crazy. Well, Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine are also both in the Star Trek universe now as
Oh,
well.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, because they keep doing shows.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both on two of the newer ones.
Mhm.
Um, Jerry O'Connell voiced a character on Lower Decks, which is the like um,
The
kind
Rick and
of,
Morty.
yes, the Rick
I
and
know
Morty
that's
of
the Rick
Star
and
Trek.
Morty one.
Yeah.
It's the Rick and Morty Star Trek.
Yep. Um, and Rebecca Romaine was on Strange New Worlds, which is I'd say one of the best ones. It's like a direct prequel to the original.
Okay.
There's a few of the characters are like younger versions of the original characters,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, it's also kind of like a green light of the original Star Trek pilot that
Hmm.
was was rejected at first. Um,
Interesting.
it was like a different captain and shit. So they basically, the 60 years later, greenlit a show for that captain.
That's cool.
So,
That's
yeah.
actually a cool detail. What didn't they do one that was like it was like a weirdly pro-fascist Star Trek, right? Didn't one of those have it? It's
Pro-fascist.
like I think Sam Richardson's in it. Like it's
Sam Richardson.
comedian.
Well, this is,
It's from I Think You Should Leave. Star Trek. Let me see. Sam Richardson. Yeah, so Star Trek. Section 31. Is that it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that was
Um,
like I watched. I have never watched an episode of that, but I did randomly see like it was like a worst. It was like a worst shows of the year thing, and they brought up that show, and they talked about various ways in which Section 31 was subtly anti like the actual message of Star Trek, and subtly like pro fascism, and you
yeah.
know
I hate the existence of Section 31 in Star Trek. Because like so they introduce it back in Deep Space Nine, like 30 years ago.
mhm.
And because Deep Space Nine was like a little more kind of gritty as far as Star Trek went.
Oh, it was a
Um,
movie, so it wasn't a TV
and
show. So it might have been worst movies of the year.
yeah, so it was on Deep Space 9 years ago.
Mhm.
And it was sort of just this like, it was there to like be a moral dilemma kind of thing for the characters. And then this one of the newer shows, Discovery, reintroduced it,
Okay, wait.
and
If
they
you want to pull
like
up my
went
screen, I'm gonna get.
yeah,
So
they went all in with it. So then the Section 31 movie was like a spin-off of Discovery. I never saw it. I heard Section 31 was like unwatchably bad. But
yeah,
yeah, like you know, ideologically, I do find it to be to be really at
yeah.
odds with what Star Trek is kind of supposed to be about.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, so wait,
Oh,
Inachu
you
has
hadn't heard?
yeah. So Inachu has a few comments. Let's highlight theirs. So let's start with the really long one. Uh, So the most shocking interaction with a very famous person and me was with Anne Rice. I was number 127 in line, and once I was number 5 in earshot, I just came from working out and forgot to use my new unused Flexall 454. I say to her, Anne, before you go to bed, put this on, or put this one. I assume you meant on. Many got angry and some repeated, get the police. My jaw dropped. Then I understood and replied out loud, no, not that. I pulled it out and gave her my 454 and said, for your writer's cramp, then everyone laughed. Um, well, cool. What's a Flexall 454? I have no idea what that is. What that means.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
you?
glad I'm not the only one.
Okay, yeah. And then Inachu thinks 31 was good. It's like icy hot. Okay, so it's
Oh,
like icy
okay.
hot. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I think 31 is to have their own movie, but many says that's a myth. Oh, they finally made it. Wow, late on news. Okay, so yeah, 31 apparently exists already, and I only know about it because I was watching a worst movies of the year thing, and
Mhm.
somebody, even though it wasn't a theatrical release, I think it was just Paramount Plus. It was like a Paramount
Yep.
Plus original. Like it pissed people off. You gotta.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
not Inachu says I gotta buy it, but it's on. Actually,
Yeah.
wait,
The,
didn't
the
we?
new Star Treks are like really divisive already. And then
Mhm.
yeah, so um
Question: can we get the chat on screen for this?
oh right. We can, I
I think we could
believe.
we could put it. Could we put it right here? I think there's enough space. There's enough space over here. It could
Yeah.
just cover my books,
How do I
my comic books.
way my stupid camera sits? It like blocks part of my screen. I gotta I gotta get some real shit here.
We gotta get
All
we
right.
gotta get our shit together, man.
How do I all right, chat. Show on stream. That would do it, wouldn't it? All right.
Okay, yeah. So then let's move it up. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
That's good. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll be good enough for now. Um, yeah, I'm gonna just, and then I can I do this, and then yeah, if we want to highlight anything, I'll just put my hands up like this. So there's a bit more contrast. Okay. All right. So I feel like we have Um, I feel like we've small talked enough. We've been alive for about 15
Ooh,
minutes. I think we've reached quorum.
here we can make it
Let
actually uh, readable.
Oh,
How's that?
nice. Wait, Inacho used to be a big movie nerd until COVID. What the fuck did you do during
You
COVID?
know what?
That was the time. That was the time. Okay, so let's get on to so this is Radicalize Me. This is a news podcast. Um, Joe Messina here. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
I'm Justin Petro. Hello as well. And then COVID equals Warcraft. That makes sense. That makes sense actually. Now that you
Fair.
mention it. But yeah, so we're gonna run through some of the week's big news story. I think that there is a really tragic one that I think we have to get to. But I don't want to start off with that. I am somebody who spent a good chunk of my life in Maine, and already been Maine's been really in the news this year. Like Maine has been like kind of like a political main character this year, and we can talk about what happened there a couple days ago.
Oh
But
boy.
let's I'm gonna share my screen right here because there is good news. There is good news. Oh,
What the hell just happened?
you're the big screen. Nope.
I
You
don't
were good
know.
for a second. There we
Okay.
go. Okay, so I think that there is no better. You must be Joe Messina too. I know the senior. Do you have is your dad also named Joe Messina? No.
Um, he is, but so is his dad. So that would make
Nice.
me the third.
Oh, Joe Messina the third. Oh, but yeah. So I think that there was no of all the various eulogies that happened for
Mhm.
Lindsey Graham this past week. I don't think a single one was beaten or a single one beat this because you had like people like Elizabeth Warren, like Cory Booker, like all these people that were like you should hate this guy that were like he was a good
Yeah.
guy, he was it's just yeah, well, at the end of the day we're all on the same team, we're all working for the same people, right? But it's just
Yeah. I
it was
guess
a
we are.
coworker,
Yeah.
and but listen, say what you want about Hassan Piker, all right? The dude knows how to call a POS a POS. So
Mhm.
this was, I think, an iconic moment for him. I died.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs. Today is July 12th, 2026. And Lindsay Olin Graham, American politician and attorney who represented South Carolina in the United States Senate from 2003 until now, is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs,
Oh my
born in the
God.
town of Central South Carolina, Lindsay Olin Graham attended the University of South Carolina. He served as a member of the Judge Advocate General's Corps in the U.S. Air Force from 1982 to 1988, working as a defense attorney and chief prosecutor in Europe. He later served in the U.S. Air Force Reserve while in Congress. He was awarded a Bronze Star Medal for meritorious service in 2014 and held the rank of colonel. Lindsey Graham worked as a lawyer in private practice before serving from 1993 to 1995 in the South Carolina House of Representatives and from 1995 to 2003 in the U.S. House of Representatives, where he represented South Carolina's 3rd Congressional District. Lindsey Graham occupied the space left in the Senate by yet another demonic entity, Strom Thurmond, who had been in that seat since 1948. The seat is now occupied. The seat is now vacant, as Lindsey Graham, shortly coming back from a trip from Ukraine, has passed away. Lindsey Graham is pro-life, and yet Lindsey Graham has died. Now, today we're going to be talking about his legacy. Many of the outlets are rushing to talk about Lindsey Graham's background and how wonderful of a guy he is and how awesome he was and polite conversations. We, of course, don't do that here on the Hasanabi broadcast. We like to take a look at the true worth of a man. We like to take a look at what these members of Congress have actually done. Not the way that they cover it in mainstream media, but instead the way what their impact is and the way it should be covered. I'll start off by saying Lindsey Graham, in a long list of demonic entities, was exceptionally bloodthirsty. A bloodthirsty, odious monster who loved war. There was never a war that Lindsey Graham did not fall in love with.
Some,
Mr.
like,
Ladybug
preacher
himself.
energy.
Yeah.
And the ultimate irony,
he's really developed that over
the
the
ultimate irony of the situation is that he achieved him.
I mean, you talk, as long as he talks a day, right? For as many years as he's been doing it, and now he does like a lot more like live appearances, so he's had more experience like talking to like full rooms, and you and I have done stand up, and so we both know like that does warp you, that does change you,
Yeah.
But
I mean, I guess that's why preachers sound like that, is because you develop like a stylized, like showy way of speaking to keep hold people's attention.
Absolutely. Okay, so Inacho, I'm not political, but I hope Trump's daylight savings passes and let Mother Nature control our sleeping patterns, go back to nature. I mean, I think that daylight savings is like a thing from the past, right? Like, I think that,
I've heard conflicting reasons as to why it happened, as to why we have it. It seems like no one really knows, which
it's like for
funny,
farmers, right? Initially.
That's what I've heard, but then like I keep hearing like, no, actually it's because of something, like I don't know, but it's so
it's because fuck you.
Yeah, right. Really,
it's because you must suffer.
It's so stupid. Like it's not even all of the US that does it. Benjamin Franklin thought, that
Benjamin Franklin
does sound right.
Benjamin Franklin. Yeah. So anyway, so this, I mean, he goes on. Do you want to watch? Let's watch a little bit more of this. I do think that Hassan just cooks him real hard here. All right.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
And his best friend John McCain's dream of bombing Iran.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran. Bomb, 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 bomb.
He finally got to do it. And yet, the only thing he saw in the aftermath of achieving his dream, suffering from his success, was the spectacular failure it turned into in his final days. He watched the United States' century of force projection capabilities collapse. But rest easy, Ladybug, till the bitter end. You
Ladybug
died doing what you loved, advancing the interests of American empire. And of course, we're going to get into all of that and more. I just wanted to start with that, get it out of the way. I haven't seen Benjamin Netanyahu on American television as much since another prominent right-wing figure died in the United States of America, and his name was Charlie Kirk. That's right. Benjamin Netanyahu is making the rounds on television talking about how wonderful Lindsey Graham was. Now, of course, that's probably not great for Lindsey's legacy, especially considering that everybody despises Benjamin Netanyahu, but I guess it's honest. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, you were expecting me to give you a polite eulogy of Lindsey Graham to lie to you about his background. Well, expect no more. The only redeemable aspect of Lindsey Graham's existence was the fact that he...
I'm so over that shit. Like, and I feel like everyone is. The The
Hmm.
I don't know, the mainstream media is um uh like I really just running on fumes. Like it's such a dead format. And when you watch it, it's like, yeah, they're still doing this fucking fake bullshit. They're like,
Hmm.
he was a statesman and whatever you feel about it. Like no one wants to fucking hear this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh,
yeah, we
real quick,
disagreed,
and
but we
Nacho,
love to laugh.
thank you for the 5 gifted subs. By the way, that
Mm.
is amazing.
Oh wow,
Um,
thank you. That's awesome.
Inachu said, "Good show. Yours not Hassan." I mean, Hassan is entertaining. There's a reason he's successful. I mean, so Joe, I agree with you. I think like it's just so funny, right? It's like you have like all these, you have like Elizabeth Warren, you have like all these Democrats that are like fascism is rising, fascism. We need to
Right.
fight fascism, and then like the fascists like number two best guy dies, and they're like, well, he was a good man, and he
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we didn't agree with everything, and yada yada yada, but he was, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like,
Yeah. They
are
really
these people your enemy, or aren't they?
right. They really want it both ways. I mean, it's the same thing with fucking Netanyahu being everywhere. It's like, I'm sorry, like uh we're just, you know, this time we're having Hitler on our TV shows. Like
Yeah.
all right.
Bye, Nacho, by the
Level
way.
them up.
Like,
Thanks for coming.
level up your mage and hunter. Actually,
um
let's hide the chat until somebody else jumps in.
yeah, sure.
But yeah, man, it is just I think that like a lot of these people, like, I don't think they understand how rapidly culture is shifting,
Yeah.
and how quickly people are developing a distaste. I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of people who just think that, like, oh, I can run for office like I could in 2015. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that I mean, I think that, like, you know with how that Massey and Ro Khanna co-sponsored bill to stop the $3.3 billion going to Israel, right? And Hakeem Jeffries just came out and said that he's going to oppose it, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, I think, like, I don't think they understand how viciously culture is
Yeah.
shifting under their feet right
Yeah.
now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's definitely part of it is that they are just out of touch. I think like they don't know
Hmm.
what the fuck is happening in this, outside the bubble they live in. And but at the same time, it's like they have to know on some level
Hmm.
what's going on with, that's why they act the way they do about, you know, DSA winning places and stuff. Like uh because I remember thinking this about Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, like
Hmm.
within some time, within the past 3 years of the Gaza genocide. It's like you guys are not even like there's not even self-preservation here. Like you aren't trying to protect your political career. You're literally just protecting Israel. Like there's no
Hmm.
other motivation here because it's not really doing anything for you. I think they are more popular, like, or Jeffries at least is like more popular in his district than he is with the general public.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, like, does his district give a shit about Israel? Maybe, but like, I don't know. Like, if he didn't support Israel anymore, a lot of people probably wouldn't give a shit.
I mean, I guess it depends on, like, the makeup, the metrics, the statistics of types of
Right.
people that live there. I mean, there are people, that are, I mean, there are people that are pro-Israel. I mean, there's a lot of people who showed up to vote for Andrew Cuomo in the, in the mayoral election. I mean, he got a decent chunk of the vote the second
Yeah.
time, at least. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, we could get into theories for why that is. Maybe
I
maybe
mean,
maybe they know things that we don't.
yeah. Well, yeah, okay. So I'm curious about uh, this little tangent because that bill I think did just pass the House. I'm sure it won't pass the Senate, but um, ending the aid to Israel passed
Hmm.
in the House, despite the leadership of both parties opposing it. Um,
A
so,
lot of people want to
and,
win re-election. They want to win their,
right.
their
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
primaries. They know that it's like, well, I know what the marching orders that were given to me were, but
yeah. Yeah, it's oh my god. Speaking of which, like it was the Massey and Ro Khanna,
Mhm,
um, and eh, obviously I'm way more aligned with Ro Khanna than Thomas Massey, but with both of them, I'm like I I'm
mhm,
not your biggest fan, but like I do respect this and like the
mhm,
Epstein stuff they were doing. Like they were very bold on a couple of these things.
mhm.
But should we play the video I sent you? Did I send that? I don't know if I sent it on Facebook.
Yeah, so I posted it. I sent it to you, so we do have it. Let me queue up
Yeah, it was
it's
Rokana with the
yeah, it was the X
breaking
video, right?
points and yeah.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah, I think it's the
Actually,
breaking points
oh
crew
wait.
and
Okay, so Twitter's making me log in. Are you logged in on Twitter on your browser? Because
yeah, it should be. Let's see.
then in that case you should pull it up. But if you scroll up to like the top of like all the links I sent you, it's like the first one I sent. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I like Rokana, but I do I know that he's he's still like he's one of those people where like he's like, yeah, fuck Israel, but they have a right to it's like they have a right to defend themselves and they're blah, 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 they should be a sovereign state and blah 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 blah, and I hope they win,
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah, they like Israel has the right to what the fuck is this? I'm logged out of X too. What is it? What is fucking going
son
on?
of a bitch.
What is this happening? Did it just log everyone out? How do
Next time,
I
I think I'm gonna just I should have just tried to find that video on YouTube just because I do have YouTube Premium, so I should have just grabbed it on YouTube. So my
all right.
apologies for that. But yeah,
That's all good.
but we should try and find like YouTube links. That's just gonna be the best. I think the best way to share things. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, it's I think some of this has to be like oh, here it is. Like some of this has to be kind of um like a genuine uh what the fuck am I trying to say? Cognitive dissonance, like I think some of it is real where it's like people, Rokana is like almost 50, like these people who are older, it's like I get that it's harder to like go your whole life thinking one thing where I learned my like leftiness pretty young, so like
mhm.
it's harder to go from like an entire life of understanding things one way to then like flipping. So I get that, but also, yeah, it's like you said, it's like he wants to run for president, and
Mhm.
he's gonna bullshit a little because he's trying to please everyone.
He's listening to his Gen Z, his Gen Z advisor. That's what he's doing. It's like, yo, what's the temperature like out there? And they're like, yeah, you wanna be hard against this shit,
Representative Khanna, I want to say, like, I think objectively, a lot of people who have been deeply concerned about the apartheid state of Israel, the genocide in Gaza, find it refreshing to hear a member of Congress speak in this way, and the fact that you also have used this opportunity to try to highlight specific cases of Palestinians. I want to ask you, though, what you think the consequences for Israel should be, not just of these actions, but also for the mass murder of a documented roughly 80,000 people. It's probably much higher than that in Gaza, a significant portion of whom are children. I've heard you talk about sanctioning individuals. I've heard the framing that you and Bernie Sanders offer about offensive weapons or weapons that kill civilians, but I've also heard your defense of Iron Dome.
We should say what they're talking about, because you said, like, you know, these actions and what happened to you there. Ro Khanna and like, you know, whatever group he was with were stopped by Israeli settlers in the West Bank.
Yes, that was a big news story.
Yeah, and they were harassed. Like, they fucking just, you know, that's how bold and like disgusting these people are. It's literally like the benefactor country, the fucking people who give you everything. A congressman comes through, and because he's not totally aligned with you, these fucking like 19-year-olds with guns just are like, you know, just stop this fucking guy and hold him for no reason. This is what they do to Palestinians all the time, except a lot more violently. And then the IDF comes through and they also hold them for a bit for no fucking reason. And then it's just like, it all amounts to nothing. It's just like, oh yeah, we just wanted to fuck with you because we can.
If I'm Ro Khanna in that situation, I'm like, personally, I'm like, holy shit. If I don't get killed right now, oh, this is going to be so great for the presidential campaign. Like, let's go, baby.
Right.
Let's go. Fucking, oh, I got skin in the game. I was,
yeah,
I was held up by the IDF. Hell yeah. If they don't blow my fucking head off right now, I am sitting pretty for 2028, baby.
Yeah. It's just like, dude, like, what the you're literally, it's like, I don't know. It's like an allied nation, like the fucking, like a British MP comes through to visit the South during Jim Crow, and like the fucking Klan kidnaps them temporarily, and then he goes back to Britain and he's like, "This is so much worse than we thought. You really need to understand." But also, we got to keep arming America. like, what the fuck?
It's like, it's really bad over there, but like, we gotta keep doing it. It has to keep being that bad.
We can sanction Bull Connor, but not like the whole South. Come on.
You know, it's like, but you know, the Bible. But you know, the prophecy foretold. Okay, should we keep going?
Yep.
And I want to push you on this because I think a lot of the critique of you from pro-Palestine people and from Palestinians is that the position you're advocating basically amounts to, we need to make sure that the sniper is protected so that he can continue sniping.
Well, if we look, I appreciate the question, and I will answer it specifically. But if you look at all the things I've called for, I've said zero aid to Israel and supporting the Massey Amendment that does that. That's going to be a big vote coming up this week. I've said no military sales to Israel that are used to kill civilians. I've said no military integration and led the fight to repeal Section 224 and 219, which is Netanyahu's end run, where they would just co-produce the military. I've said we should call it apartheid and recognize the genocide. So these are on a scale of 1 to 10. You know, it's like going from 1 to 7 or 8, and the debate is, okay, 9 or 10. Do I an arms embargo completely, which I have not supported, would say Israel can't even get or produce from anyone defensive the Iron Dome. And I guess my view is, you know, anyone should be able to protect civilian life, but that's not America supporting it. I do think, though, that there is something that the next administration could do within the first 100 days, instead of just saying, okay, we're going to talk abstractly about this long peace process. Demand the arrest of Yonah Levy and extremist settlers within 100 days. Demand the destruction of every outpost within 100 days. Demand the destruction of illegal settlements within 100 days. Demand a justice for Palestinians and Palestinian people so that they stop getting terrorized within 100 days. That doesn't have to be some dialogue. That needs to be a directive from the American administration saying Israel must do this. And we need to be taking steps as we get towards a broader peace in that direction. I think that's one of the things that came out of this trip, the immediacy of the suffering of Palestinians.
I still don't think this is answering the question. I mean, tell me where I'm wrong here. What you're advocating for, we are talking about not just Netanyahu. Sanders always says Netanyahu and his extremist right-wing government. But if you look at public opinion polling, there is widespread support for open genocidal policies. In fact, Netanyahu is often criticized by his political opponents for not having finished the job in Gaza or in Lebanon or elsewhere. And I want to know why it is that you are stopping on this, because so much of what you're saying, it's one of the clearest recognitions of the issue that you could hear from an American politician. And yet, you still are saying.
I thought Ro just was like, "Fuck it, I'm out of this interview, dude. I'm fucking. I'm about. I can tell I'm about to get cooked. Kinda out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The sniper needs to have protection.
It's not the sniper. It's saying that that we're not, just so there's no ambiguity on my position, which is also the position of Sanders or AOC or others, as I understand it. It is that we have zero military aid to Israel, that we have no military sales that are used to kill, military weapons that are used to be killing civilians. So that's the drop.
I would argue Iron
drop.
Dome is used to kill. I would argue Iron Dome is used to kill civilians because it allows the Israelis to have this American backing to operate with impunity by openly saying that I support this military technology for Israel. What you're saying is that when Israel attacks other countries who have a right to fight back, that my position is that sniper, I wish he wasn't doing the sniping, but that sniper has a right to have the United States defending their sniping.
But I don't think that that's the case if we're stopping all military aid and we're stopping giving them the weapons to kill others, and we're stopping protecting them at the UN, and we're demanding the actions in terms of justice. I don't think that their policies, whether it's Netanyahu or another Israeli government.
Would you say this about apartheid South Africa? I've heard you talk about.
Well, because I think because I do
give me another
think
example where you say it's okay to continue any level of support for an openly genocidal society that has mass murdered 80,000 people, more than 300 media workers, has invaded Lebanon, has bombed Iran, and you're saying, oh, but we need to protect civilians. This isn't about protecting civilians. The greatest threat to their civilians is their policy. And so I don't understand why you have even one qualified shred of support for a sniper mass murderer masquerading as the only democracy in the Middle East.
Well, but I'm not saying that the United States should be supporting the funding
this is the
for
thing.
Iron Dome, just so we're.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's really there's just this line that they won't cross, some of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just anywhere else you saw this. There's like a great clip of Michael Brooks from the Majority Report answering a question about this, and some person asks like, oh, but isn't it complicated? He's like, no, it's not complicated. Like you know exactly what's fucking happening. And if it was happening anywhere else, we would have no problem saying what it is. It's apartheid, it's genocide, it's ethnic cleansing. But yeah, it's really and you know, Ro Khanna, like, you know, he's the answer he just started giving, you almost think that he's like gonna find more common ground with Scale, but like he starts twisting himself in more knots. It's really weird.
You want to keep going?
Yeah.
Wait, okay. And also, let's pop up the chat back up because we got a Nacho back, and also looks like we got a bot.
Hey, our
AI
first
viewers.
bot.
Yeah, streamboo.com, baby. Streamboo.com. Okay. Oh, and we actually yeah, pop in the chat because we got Jonathan Swift 89 in the chat now.
Hey.
And it says, I mean, even if the pro-Israel people just admit a bit, it would be a start. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what you're seeing here. I think that deep in Ro Khanna's heart, I think that he is Ro Khanna. Wait, is Ro Khanna does he get APAC money? Is he on APAC tracker?
That's a good question. I would imagine he probably did at some point, probably doesn't now.
Let me see. Okay. Oh, hey, Ro Khanna. Okay, actually, let me. Can I switch my tab to this? Okay, so we're gonna. Oh man. Here I'm gonna switch my screen. So let's I do want to return to this for a second, but here let me pull up my screen and share this here. But yeah, so he is. I mean, he's touting his dog is very proud of this. APAC tracker from June 17th is the first sitting MOC to sign track APAC's peace pledge, rejecting APAC money and committing to human rights, U.S. law, and an end to unconditional support for war. Rejecting APAC money isn't enough. Every member of Congress must be ... We'll never know because I'm not clicking through. And then he wrote himself, I am proud to be the first Democrat to take this pledge to reject money from APAC and affiliated groups, recognize the genocide in Gaza, and oppose aid to Israel and military sales that kill civilians. So he's gone 90% of the way.
Yeah.
And then wait. So Inachu, let's decipher this Inachu comment. The whole Israel thing is one giant tinfoil hat thing because they do dance on and in the tinfoil hat scenario. SCN Aereo.
Yeah, I'm guessing what you mean is that it's hard to talk about what Israel's doing without sounding like you are engaging in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, because this is what a lot of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories will say, is that Jews do all of this as a whole. And it's well, no, of course that's not true. But it's the reason that Israel is one of the greatest purveyors of anti-Semitism is because not only do they do these things that people have accused Jews as a whole of doing, they do it openly. Then they also say that anyone who criticizes them is anti-Semitic. So they have completely drained that word of all meaning.
So what do you think is going through Ro Khanna's head here? Do you think because I do think that, right, it seems very clear to me, just from a guy who's been on this rock for almost 4 decades, right? And I've been following politics since I was a teenager, right? He's doing the I'm about to run for president dance. I mean, all of this is what you do before, you know what I'm saying? Clearly he's building his lane, he's building his case for being the dude, right? And he is very accurately reading the room as far as how everybody's feeling about this one country, right? Where it's just there is, this has to stop, right? And but why do you think that let's play a little bit more of the video, but let's think about why he can't just be 100% fuck him,
Right?
Because Jeremy Scale's trying to get so is it 100% fuck him then? And he's like, no, it's 89% fuck him,
Right.
For clear, I'm saying that we shouldn't be restricting Israel from being able to get the Iron Dome or be able to develop the
Why?
Iron Dome technology. Well,
Why stop there? Everything else you're saying makes so much sense. Why do you stop there? It feels to me like you're trying to have it both ways on this issue. So you can say, well, I actually support, defending the Israeli civilians. You're not defending Israeli civilians with that policy. You're defending the sniper's ability to keep killing because it won't face the ultimate accountability, which is a total embargo on all support for an apartheid state.
Yeah, I don't think you have to put at risk. You would agree, there are innocent civilians in Israel, right? Including 20% being Arab Israelis. I mean, I just don't think that you have to put their lives at risk to achieve the ends of stopping the apartheid, stopping the occupation.
Israel puts their lives at risk by waging genocidal wars with the support of a significant portion of its population, and by enabling them by saying, well, the sniper still needs to have his cover, or I stop at this thing. What you're saying is that the accountability then doesn't lie on American policy toward Israel. It's sort of something abstract. Well, Israeli civilians could die. Israeli civilians are dying in these attacks because of the apartheid. Palestinians have a right to kill Israeli soldiers, Congressman? On October 7th, when they attacked the military bases in the Gaza envelope, did the Qassam brigades and Suraya al-Quds have a right to kill Israeli soldiers? Yes or no? On October 7th, did Palestinians have a right to attack Israeli military bases in the Gaza envelope? Yes
The
or
answer
no?
is yes, by the way.
I mean, I think October
international
7th attack was a terrorist attack, so I don't
Was it a
justify.
terrorist attack when the first targets that were hit on the morning of October 7th were multiple military bases? Did Palestinian forces have a right to attack those military bases?
I am not for violence again in any way. I mean, I am for making sure that we end the
Did they have a
occupation.
right to do it, Congressman? Do they have a right to attack Israeli soldiers?
No, I'm not going to say that Hamas had a right to attack Israeli soldiers or kill Israelis. Like I don't think that advances peace or advances Palestinian statehood.
Did Israel have a right to drop a single bomb on Gaza in response to October 7th?
I believe Israel had the right to get people who killed the civilians, but not in the way they went about it.
This is the problem. It's that I don't know if he doesn't, because here's the thing again, these people are fucking out of touch. So there are things I can believe that they don't fucking know, because I have seen Hassan Piker interview Ro Khanna and say to him what's crazy is that Trump keeps saying that illegal immigrants have killed hundreds of thousands of Americans, but do you know how many murders were actually committed by undocumented immigrants this year, or in a year, but what's the average? And he had no fucking idea. And Hassan tells him the answer is 27. Not 2,700, not 27,000. It's 27. And it's why doesn't Ro Khanna know? And it's I bet most people in Congress he asked that of wouldn't know that. So it's Ro Khanna might not have any fucking idea what was happening in Israel and Palestine before October 7th. Because this is the shit you hear on American media all the time. Again, it's they're running on the momentum of these old ways of thinking about it and the old propaganda that ran for decades. And the truth is that October 7th was in response to the abuse that they've been getting from Israel for fucking decades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the same way, right? When we talk about people, giving Hassan shit for saying, America deserved 9/11. There's context to that, right? It's, that was our evil foreign policy coming home to roost, right?
Right.
And these things don't happen in a vacuum, right? Okay, so comment time. Jonathan Swift 89. Says the two-state solution was, in my view, the solution that was probabilistically the only accommodative and effective solution. And then Inachu says the IDF now wear the Greater Israel patch, which shows the goal. The deepest the deepest thing Inachu said this whole time.
Hmm.
Hell yeah. Just that's there must be some mission in some mission in Warcraft that lines up real nicely with that. Okay, and then Jonathan Swift 89 says to play devil's advocate, their knowledge depends on their portfolio and also the Senate committees they work in. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but also like, I like have a lot of information in my head, that I use when I'm at work, and then
Mhm.
also I make myself aware of a lot of different things in the
Yeah,
world and
I
in
mean,
the
the
news,
information
and I
exists out there.
yeah, yeah. So like I tend not to give a lot of leeway to politicians in that sense, but I get it. Like they have their area of focus. But yeah, I think that people who are trying to put themselves out there, whether you're a politician or not, as having like come to some revelation about this issue over the past 3 years, uh, are a little full of shit when 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 it becomes clear that, like, again, either he's just being squirrely because he's running for president, or he hasn't fucking learned all that much in 3 years. Like, get an
I
audiobook, bro. Like,
I think it's the former. I think that
yeah.
he is doing the I want to be president math in his head when he's answering these questions, right? And as much as he's like, okay, I know that I have to be like anti-Israel, anti-Israel. I need to be very vocally, pro Gazans, right? I think like there's like programming there, right? Because this country has been staunchly pro-Israel. I mean, like I will admit to you that um, you know, i- you know, even me being left leaning, I didn't realize just how deep it went with like Israel and Gaza just due to my lack of personal education, right? And just deep propaganda my entire life. I grew up in Maine. I grew up as a conservative Christian, right, until I was like a teenager.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
so like and so like these things get like sold to you, and so like I didn't realize until like after October 7th when, the genocide, like, the current genocide, like really started in earnest. And it was like very obvious, like, oh, what they were using this as an excuse to get away with, right? Like this is
Yeah.
kind of like the excuse that they kind of always wanted, right? And they're gonna take that ball and try to make it past the finish line, right? Or whatever. I'm not a sports guy. Okay, so we got a couple more comments from Inachu and Jonathan Swift. So Inachu says we are limiting the state depth, and even considering shut it down almost completely, but can't close the state depth 100%. So many military had babies born on military bases overseas, and State Department also tracks that among other things.
I'm
Okay.
not quite sure what we're getting out there.
And yeah, no clue. And then Jonathan Swift 89 says the problem I feel is that one senator or one representative, none of whom are clearly specialized in everything, as no human can be, have to vote on an array of sensitive and difficult issues. Yeah, I mean this is why
Yeah.
like this is why like they should be well read and talk to people who have greater knowledge.
Yeah, but also I always have an issue with this framing because, like, like a senator or a congressman is not just one person. It is, each one has an entire office behind them. They have a cabinet. Basically, they have like a chief of staff and like a bunch of advisors and um a bunch of interns and like lower level staff, and like there's plenty of people to do research and like
Mhm,
get the fuller as full a picture as you can get
mhm,
to the member. And I think that, yeah, there's a lot of excuses made, not that you're doing this, Jonathan Swift. It's just I think that um that what I see a lot is there's a lot of excuses made when it comes to this, like, well, how much can one person, and it's not one person. So that's the thing where I'm
Mhm.
like, I am one person and I have ADHD, and
Mhm.
I still manage to like get get my head around some of these like sensitive things.
Okay. So more comments. So Inachu says NK Jews and true Torah Jews are against political state of Israel.
North
John
Korean Jews.
North Korean Jews. Yes, those North Korea Jews. And then Jonathan Swift says, I feel like a lot of this boils down to how people view non-state actors against state actors.
That's
And
true, and I think that people, I mean, why this is like, why would you know this? But I think a lot of people don't. Nutre Carta Jews. Okay, yeah, interesting. I don't. I know what you're talking about, because I know there are like different sects of Judaism that feel differently about Israel. But yeah, that's definitely good to point out. But yeah,
mhm,
the state actors thing, it's like, why would you? But like, yeah, people don't know much about international law. I didn't, like, I learned a lot about it from like Hassan and stuff
mhm,
during this.
yeah.
And then, I tried to learn more by reading like the 100 Years War on Palestine and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like, yeah, people don't get it. And the terrorist is such a crazy word, because people just hear it and shut their fucking brains completely off.
Yeah. But like a lot of freedom fighters throughout history were called terrorists in their time, right?
Yeah.
And then history, kind of redeemed them, right? Okay, and then Inachu says the tie-in is because many Israeli dual citizens work at the State Department. They listen to BB first, and
Mm.
then it says we are trying to remove the umbilical cord from Israel. NK Nutri Carta Jews. NK are mostly in New York. Um, NK. I'm never gonna remember Nutri Carta.
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it Nordal Combat. That's Nordal Combat. Get over here. Okay. uh, whoa. Okay. Jonathan Swift with a massive comment. More than that, can a country 342 million people truly be represented by 535 voting members, 435 House representatives, and 100 senators? My point really, is that the current, I assume that means is that the current system of government is neither the most representative nor is it the most effective system of governance, as no human, even with the big office, can be effective enough to vote on a huge array of issues that span across multiple fields of science and all kinds of technical fields. I mean,
Well,
that's
yeah,
just
and that's
that's just
like,
straight cooking, John.
no, I think it's a good point about like the number of members and stuff like that. That is way outdated, and I think that that is a problem, and it's a problem how, given even having 535 members, and yet how much shit is decided by like the unelected Supreme Court, or the fucking presidency, which is like, you know uh, just a rogue office at this point. But
Yeah.
like,
Oh, are we good with this link, by the
yeah,
way? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we don't
All
have
right.
to go through this whole, but like, yeah,
Mhm.
I still like, because
I
I
mean,
still,
we saw Rokana just do the
yeah, yeah,
whoa, the I want to be
Is-
president shuffle. Just ooh, hey, whoa, he,
yes,
whoa. I don't want to say anything
homina,
that
homina, homina, yeah.
JD Vance can use an attack ad against me right here.
Oh my
You
god.
know.
Yeah, dude, fucking oh my god. But yeah, the my only issue, Jonathan Swift, is that like I still have a problem with the framing that it's like hard to be effective enough to vote on all these issues and understand. And I just don't buy that, because like you could have a bigger, more representative Congress, and I think there's I don't know. There's ways, like, you don't have to convince me that like our governmental system is fucked.
Mhm.
There's a lot that I would change.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a guy with a big beard whose ideas I would use a lot of. And
Mhm.
but the idea that like you still can't like be effective on voting on these different issues and stuff. I don't think that's true. I just don't. I think that like you can you can do the work, and I think that we can change the orientation of our government, not just who's in it, but like how it works, who they serve, and like bills don't have to be 2,000 pages of bullshit. Like there's just there's a lot there to um
And then,
okay.
Jonathan Swift 89. By the way, before I read this comment, I have a question for Jonathan Swift 89. Is your name a Taylor Swift reference? Are you a Taylor Swift fan? So your last name is Swift on here, and then 1989, like her landmark album. Please answer in the comments. uh, okay, and then okay. So as people, do you feel connected to your House reps or senators? I would think that even if your rep or senator is great, you probably don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who my representative is. I do not feel connected to them at all. I should be more in tune with that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's we're not really taught to do that, and it's not good. I think who the fuck I to be fair, I just moved to where I live,
Yeah,
but
you lived in Massachusetts for a while. You just moved
John
back to Philly.
Fetterman is one of my senators.
Yay!
Can't wait to fucking vote against that guy. Yeah, see, Dave McCormick, Republican. I don't know who that is. I am I am like fucking inches away from Chris Rabb being my new congressman, but no such luck. I'm just outside of the zone.
Damn.
But yeah, turning Philly red, the good kind.
Hell yeah. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I think that we've been live for a little over an hour now. I think that, I've successfully psyched myself up in my head for this. This is something that, this is less fun than the tragic end of Lindsey Graham's story. This is that was like a good feel good story. That was like how kind of like how Mitch McConnell last week we were talking when we did this on last Friday, right? We were talking about that was like, oh, this is a feel good story of the week right here. This is not that. This is decidedly not that. Here, let's I'm pulling up this. Another Jonathan Swift comment. Okay, I'll change my framing. Senators and congressional representatives are currently extremely ignorant on many issues, and they can certainly put in more effort to be aware. At the same time, given the broad scope of the government, the issues on the agenda range all the way from agriculture to botany to tech. Every person has 12 hours in a day. Can they truly understand all of these issues with that many hours?
But they don't have to truly understand them. That's the thing. Like, you can have a solid enough understanding to do your job. If we're talking about like, individuals doing their job, then that part of it, I would say, yes, you absolutely can. Like I used to do one of my first jobs was as a copywriter for an internet marketing like SEO company. And I had to write, press releases and just like web content and shit for all sorts of businesses. It would be like plumbers and doctors and fucking whatever. It was just so many different things that, especially when I was 23, like I had no fucking idea about any of this stuff, but I knew how to write and I knew how to look shit up and I knew how to like, get a sense. And that's like the kind of skills that you need. And it's not about like, having some like deep understanding, but you need to have a political understanding. And I think that in places like, frankly, China, where it is, I like conservatives and shit love to say that like we live in a meritocracy and like socialism is not meritocratic because it's like everybody gets everything for free or whatever bullshit. But it's not. China is a place where they have very, very high standards for who can be a party member and who can be like in the People's Council and shit. And there's a lot of like on the ground life experience that they are supposed to get first. They go and work with peasant farmers. They go like in Cuba, China might do something like this, but I'm just thinking of Cuba with their doctors. They send them to rural areas. They send them to other countries. And it's like, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to do a couple of years of this so that you not only know doctor shit, but you understand like what are the other like factors of society and how are they affecting people that I'm going to come across in my work. So it's again, not a matter of, are they going to truly deeply understand it's like, they don't have to be an expert on everything, but there's a way to orient our government in a way that is more conducive to a holistic understanding rather than like whatever it is we're doing now, which is just corruption and, atomized, individualized sort of like, we just picture each individual congressman like on their own little journey. And it's like, no, like, it should be, yeah.
I mean, I think there's also part of it that I don't think has really come up yet in this conversation between us and Jonathan Swift 89, that is not about Taylor Swift at all, which is sad. But it's the fact that a lot of these people don't care about understanding these issues, and a lot of these people have marching orders that they've been given by people who have given them money, and the goal is to purposefully misrepresent the facts of some of these things to advance whatever the agenda of the people who are paying them money is. I mean, that's just straight up, that is just what's happened with a lot of these people. So it's like, not even like they don't want to understand the full converse or the full situation, because they have people in their ear saying, hey, you're going to purposefully misunderstand it, and you're going to act like the situation is this on in an interview, because here's a bunch of money, right?
And yeah, I mean, well, so the first comment here, the job you described was something that required a broad range of knowledge for a functional role, but you want person determining national decision making to me, because I mean, sorry, I'll read the whole comment. To the person determining national decision making to merely have functional knowledge of the issue before interacting with it. Best example I can think of is the congressional deposition on Facebook, where some reps did not even understand how the technology works. And then, not to defend Facebook, but they can't be scrutinized heavily unless the person doing the questioning. Yeah, I mean, so like I get where you're coming from, and I think part of the problem is, again, it's just talking about China and how like they have a much more meritocratic, like you need to actually learn and experience things and understand before you are in a decision making position. So like that's something we could think about having. And it's also a problem of just the gerontocracy angle, which is like, you should not be in Congress into your 80s and 90s.
A lot of these people have brains that scientifically cannot learn new information.
Yeah.
You can't put new things in there. There's just not. It's just all decrepit. After this, and then Anachu has just been having like let's be honest, Anachu's been having like this Scrat in Ice Age level side quest in the comments around this, because Anachu said a few comments ago, around the time of the 9/11 attacks, we were truly ignorant that all of Congress computing networks were all hosted in Germany. I doubt the senators show about it, as it all went hush hush. People were warned not to talk about it. Then Pakistani brothers were in control of government network under Obama. Doctor specialist is a good thing, but sadly costs more to pay them. And then says, after this time watching Chinese drama movies, teaching myself Chinese. Hell yeah. And then Jonathan Swift said, how much I ever respect Bernie, I think he needs to retire. And then Inachu, LOL, true, info too hard. Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, I think that, you know, I'm going to be stumping for Ed Markey in a couple weekends. I'm going to be like going, and the dude's 80, but it's just like, and I hope to God by the next round of this shit, but you know, after, because Ed said that he's going to step down after this one last term, right? That I hope that we can find somebody who is a progressive, who holds, you know, Ed Markey's values, or at least, you know, or even better values than Ed Markey. I don't think he's perfect, right? But you know what I'm saying? But you know, I agree that, like, I wish that I didn't have to root for Ed Markey so hard, but the alternative is Seth Moulton, who is just like God for fucking bid. You know what I'm saying? That he gets that spot, that which he's been gunning for forever. And then so Jonathan Swift says, I'm going to do an undergrad in politics and international relations, which is why I'm trying to research more on these issues, but let's see how far we can go. Well, good luck with all that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, I do want to move on though from nightmares abroad to nightmares at home. So little background about me. So like I said, I grew up in Maine. I went to college for 2 semesters at University of Maine at Presque Isle, and then all of my mental health issues just really came to a head there, and I dropped out of college, and then I went to school at the Southern Maine Community College. And when I was working at Southern Maine Community College, or in in the years before and after, I worked at the Biddeford Walmart, the Biddeford, Maine Walmart. And then Biddeford, of course, this week became the subject of a national news story when, a young man, a dude who I believe was 26, was tragically murdered in his car with his 3-year-old daughter in bluey pajamas in the back seat. And I believe I believe this is footage I've pulled up.
This footage shows the aftermath of a fatal shooting involving ICE officers in Biddeford, Maine, where one person was killed. According to U.S. Senator Angus King of Maine, the person was the target of an immigration enforcement operation. Their identity has not yet been publicly confirmed by authorities. No. However, the Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition has identified the person as a 26-year-old Colombian man.
It's also it's not immigration enforcement, and I'm fucking tired of them describing it as that.
Has called for a full and impartial investigation into the Biddeford shooting and said
good old Susan Collins
is investigating. CNN has reached out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement
and
the Department of Homeland Security for comment.
You know, that's a leader right there. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. And then we got this one. Okay, wait. Okay, so here I'm going to share my screen right here. These are all just right there. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. If you want to, can you pull up the shared screen? So yeah, so this is another short right here.
Hey, you want equal rights? You're gonna do it. You white supremacist piece of you. Look at you. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Go take your food stamps. What is your problem? What is your problem? Are you okay with innocent people being shot? They're shooting people in the street. I know that.
This is really bringing me back to Biddeford right here. The Biddeford Walmart experience in a nutshell, right there. And then okay.
Who? I couldn't quite tell who was on what side there.
I think they both were kind of on both. For that was the read I got, because they both sounded, but they were being a little bit of Rokana. They were both a little bit of Rokana about it. Okay, and then
we're Rokanaing.
Yeah, they're both Rokanaing a little bit. Okay, and then pull up this one. right now. I think this is the one I've been looking for. I think this is some footage of like like a security cam, which completely because you got the narrative, right? Like these guys, like looks like he pulled down this street. Oh, so this dude was like pulling out, right? And then
They just ram into him.
they just rammed into his car. So immediately, this just look at this. This is because you go into any fucking Facebook fucking thread about this, right? It's just like, this is a lesson. This is why you don't try to run over ICE people with your car. Clearly not doing that, right?
Yeah.
And here's the security cam video to know the dude had no history of violence, right? Just not, was driving with his fucking daughter, his 3-year-old daughter in the car. I doubt that this guy was trying to
Sorry, keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah. So I doubt that this person was, trying to murder an ICE agent with their car en route to work with their 3-year-old daughter in the back seat. Like it's just this person with no history of any sort of violent tendencies, no criminal past, right? And it's just you know what I'm saying? It's awful. It's just a nightmare, man. And you have like all these like evil demon people that just exist in any comment section that are just like, good on ICE, keep our our town safe and stuff. And it's just so there's just this genre of nightmare person that is it's so just defeating. It's so defeating that these people exist and that you have to see their dumb opinions reflected just online, and just these people that are just immediately jump to assuming the worst thing about these people, as if there's any world where there's no way that there's no way that these law enforcement people, which they're barely law enforcement people. I mean, let's be honest, ICE people they're not trained to the extent that police officers are trained, right? Like even that, right? And even that you could say in a lot of the country, that is not to the extent where it really needs to be, right? If you think about how many years people train to be lawyers, right? But the people who are out there, trying to uphold or not enact the law, right, get a fraction of that as part of their training, right? And ICE people, I think it's like 6 weeks, right? It's not. Let's ask Joe when he comes back. No, here he is. So let me see. Joe, put your headphones back on, buddy. Okay, Joe, question for you. How do we know how long ICE agents are trained? I heard it was 6 weeks. Does that track with you?
That sounds, yeah, I think they definitely have like some very expedited process right now.
Yeah.
But I don't even fucking buy that as the problem. You know what I mean? It's like the guy who killed Renee Good was like a 10-year veteran. Started under Obama.
I mean, I think
Tom Homan did too, by the way.
I mean, my pet theory is that the mandate is so chaos. That's my theory. Is that they go out in the world and the goal is to make the world crazy. Hey, make the world worse and crazier and awful. And I mean, think possibly, to that extent, they've done such a great job this year with
I think honestly, I think it's very like, I mean, it's very fascist, like literally is to do these kinds of shows of force. Like that's what it is. It's like a performance of like, look, we got one, like because the again, like the it undocumented immigrants is not a problem that needs this solution.
Mhm.
It's like
It's like a
you
paperwork issue. If
right,
somebody's
exactly.
undocumented, if somebody's an illegal alien in this country, that is an issue of paperwork. It is not something that you should be shot in the street,
Yeah.
for.
Or
It's
you
not
don't
something
need to
that you
be
should be
yeah.
ritualistically murdered for.
Yeah, and you don't need to be arrested. You don't need to be in a prison cell. There's no fucking reason for any of that, unless you're talking about like, I mean, look, because even like when they say, "Oh, we got to get the violent criminals and the worst of the worst out of it," it's like, okay, first of all, that's not what you're doing, but also, like, you can put it that way if you want, but also, like, why is it that if someone commits a violent crime in the U.S., you want to just send them away to a country where they might not even like face any legal repercussions for their crime? Like, why don't we fucking, try them for their crimes like, like we do in the US? Uh,
Hmm.
why wouldn't you try people for the crimes in the country where they committed them? But yeah, it's just, deportation is supposed to be like I think a couple of offenses down the line, but like
Hmm.
really what you would need ICE to do, if we even, we don't even need to have ICE, but like if you want to justify their existence, it's like, okay, well, it's immigration and customs enforcement. So what are you enforcing? It's the fucking paperwork. It's like,
Hmm.
hey, did you get your shit together and make sure that you're, authorized for all this stuff? And frankly, the process itself, we need to improve. Um, because I think it's, my understanding is it's very confusing and it's very difficult and it's
Hmm.
very, um, it's not a quick thing either.
Okay, so let's read some comments. All right, so okay, Jonathan Swift, 89. Also, if we read about the last 25 years, it'll be abundantly clear that the power vested in the executive has expanded to an extent that directly enabled the government to take repressive measures. And then we had Anachi said, "My failed Hollywood intro was a wet mush, but my input got two famous songs made, not by me, but I inspired. Also, one movie and one TV show." Anachi, what the fuck are
I
you
don't know what
talking about?
I don't know what
What do
you're on about,
you?
but I like
I
you.
send those songs, send those songs, post those songs in chat, you son of a bitch. And then Jonathan Swift 89 said, due to the war on terror and it's directly being used against American citizens. And then Anachi said, reminds me of Live Leak. I think that was in response to the videos I posted. Maybe yelling in house, you want A1 sauce on it. Oh, Anachi, is that Jeff Young? Jeff Young, are you Anachi? Clap twice, knock twice if you're a nacho. Okay, and then Jonathan Swift 89. The system of government that I think I'm leaning towards is a form of government that is more democratic. I think the way that we achieve that is through making the government more decentralized and putting more limits on the power of the executive branch. The judiciary is not a neutral organization as it is driven by political affiliation. The judiciary being political, but being politically partisan is bad regardless of the political affiliation of the judge in power. Um, I mean,
Well, a few things, but I think uh the judiciary being politically partisan is bad regardless of but I don't know how you avoid that, because I think, especially especially that it's a co-equal branch of government, there's no way for that not to be the case. Like, it is a political entity, and I think that people lose sight of that when they think about what the Supreme Court's supposed to be or what it should be, and it's like, no,
mhm,
but like, I learned legal realism from Mike from PA, which is that, um, law isn't magic. It's not impartial. That's
mhm,
not how the world works. It's you know, who is wielding the law and why and how and for what purpose and against whom. And that's the thing is like, I think we really shoot ourselves in the foot by, instead of, you know, seizing state power to change the outcomes, we get into this sort of like, it should be more decentralized, and that, you know, uh, 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 putting more limits on power, and the political affiliation shouldn't be driving the Supreme Court, and this and that. And it's like, I those are nice ideas, and I would hope to like work towards a society where that's, you know, more the way things work. I mean, you know, that's what communism is supposed to be, really. But like, I think that, you know, the the thing that people miss is the part where like, okay, but if you know, if you don't seek state power and wield it according to, you know, what you think is right, then someone else is going to. And it's really, I'm not saying that everyone should be dictatorial and authoritarian and violent and all this stuff, but like, I just fear that like we lose sight of the fact that we live in a world of power, and the you know, like Marx talked about the dictatorship of the proletariat, and that sounds scary at first, but it's like, okay, but what we live in is dictatorship of capital. So like, if, as long as we have states, the state is a tool that needs to be wielded by someone for some purpose, and we can change what that is. And that's, you know, that's that. I hope that made sense. It's hard to get it all in there, but
We need to be the ones holding the talking baton. And then, okay, so going up through the comments, and I'm probably going to miss a couple of these because you guys keep, I mean, hey, appreciate the engagement. You guys rule. Thanks both to Nacho and Jonathan Swift 89. So it's not me and just, you know, Joe screaming into the void over here. So Nacho said, need to find all the learning centers. I assume learning centers. And then Nacho said, well, you guys went on a tangent, so I did too.
oh yeah, no, it's fine.
Completely,
You're good.
100% accurate and fair. And so then Jonathan Swift 89 said, economically, there needs to be a system of government that prevents inequality through progressive taxation, in addition to increasing ownership directly. Economic decision making can certainly be decentralized while also not being some sort of libertarian economic system either. And Nacho said, both songs were made in 1990.
Oh, yeah. I love Nacho's little thread here. This is great.
You're having your own show. You know, this is like anyway, I gotta know. And then okay, and so then I'm not even gonna finish that comment. And then Jonathan Swift 59, by ensuring that judicial appointments are bipartisan rather than partisan in nature, you can increase the number of votes required to appoint the judiciary.
I gotta say, fuck bipartisanship. I have like, not that I'm not interested in like coalitional government. That's not necessarily all like, you know, everything coming from like one very particular you know, strain of an ideology, but like that shit is a trap. This thing where it's like, no, but like both sides can like coalesce into something. Like, no. No,
I think
it's competing
right now,
visions of how the world should work.
I mean, I think that, like, you know, I mean, part of the problem is that, you know, you get people in for 4 or 8 years and they don't have time to really enact anything. And it's almost deliberate the way that it's set up, that nobody has enough time to do their vision. And then their vision makes some of the way, right? And then the other people come in and just, and then it's just, you know, and that's where we are forever, right? And we're here. Although right now we have a guy who is just like, actually, no, we're gonna gonna really actually we're gonna we're gonna really dispel the myth that government doesn't work fast, because they have been real quickly just taking a crowbar to everything under the hood of this country.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And you see both sides of that, where it's like Trump is like, yeah, we can destroy everything and be as corrupt as possible and extract money out of the
yeah,
economy for ourselves.
I
And
can
Zoran
my net worth
Mamdani
can
is
be
like, yeah, is like, you know what? We can fix all the potholes and the bridges and give people childcare. Like it, yeah, it's
it's awful. I mean, in the term, in the sense of Zoran, I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, it's just anybody who literally, like, the next person who becomes president, the next administration, if there is one, right? Because because I do want to, by the end of this broadcast, talk about the fabled Trump addressing of the nation tomorrow night and what that means for everybody, right? Because that's a little fucking terrifying, right? Some of the rumors that are coming out about that, right? But in the sense that there's going to be in the sense that there is going to be another administration post this one, right? I think that whoever is the guy next, whoever is in power next, I mean, like, you can't, it can't be like a situation where you get back in there. It's like, well, rebuilding's gonna be slow. Like, you have to really, we need somebody who has a vision and a will, and is immediately, within like the first 100 days, like, here's a list of all the shit we fixed, or or at least we started the fixing process up, right? And then Inachu said 89. Yes. Okay. Inachu's like song 2 in 1991 on a BBS dial-up. I joined a BBS dedicated songwriters, and he needed help for short stories that gave sense of mystery. But he took my 2 stories and used it in the song, and became the song. I met the kid with white hair, and his best friend punched me for laughing at his white hair as it freaked me out. Song 1 happened while I was at Foser in Washington D.C. I mean, Foes. 89, yes. Yeah, dude,
okay.
I
I do know that song. I know the song.
The song from Crash Test Dummies. Hell yeah. I mean, good band. But yeah, so anyway. But yeah, so I mean, so back to the ICE shooting, though. It is just, I mean, I know that there's, I think that, it's sad, right? It is sad because, as somebody who grew up in Maine, deep ties to Maine, still have family members there. Family members, some of them who I do not agree with, and it would probably be on site if ever we were to be in the same room again. Who are probably some of the people out there saying, well, they shouldn't have rammed him with his car, even though we have evidence that was not the case, that this person was trying to just get the fuck out of Dodge, just try to get out of this area. And then it was actually their car that drove into their, you know what I'm saying? That ICE drove into to stop them from escaping, right? And then came out and just shot them just for whatever fucking sick, disgusting reason, right? It's just sad. But we talked a little bit last week about the Graham, or we talked a lot about it, but the Graham Plattner situation, right? And we talked about how there's like this weird kind of leftist and liberal kind of like this weird need to catalog people who defended Graham Plattner through all their their various controversies. Some of these people, like Kyle Kalinske, right, and Emma Vigland, right, and a couple others who, and a couple of these reporters like Ken Klippenstein and Ryan Grimm, like people who like carried a lot of water for Graham during his earlier controversies before the one that finally kind of took him down, right? The last one. And try to villainize these people, or like, oh, you ignored so many red flags, okay. Oh, and like we got Dito A in here. Catalog Plattner defenders need more than to be cataloged. What do you think they need to do, Dito A? Because and I said this last week, I donated the guy before I found out about that tattoo. It was right when I first heard about him, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like somebody who is surging in the polls, somebody who it talks good, somebody who seems like they have real momentum. Oh, we've had the same Jonathan Swift comment on screen forever, by the way. You know, but but somebody who seems like they can actually take down, take out, Susan Collins, finally put her to bed. It's just if you are somebody, right, and you think, or you're somebody who says we live in, we live with this government that is becoming increasingly more fascist, right? Then we got to think about, well, how do we realistically fight back against that? Is it revolution? Because I know for a fact I can't be in a revolution. I don't have the body for a revolution. Right? I think that the answer then, if we can't do revolution, right? I can't, I think that what we realistically need to do is we need to, take back, the Senate, take back the government, put in actual, like, good, candidates, good politicians who have clear visions, and say what you want about Graham Plattner and his many controversies and his many red flags, right? The things he was saying while he was stumping and continued to say, to beat the fascist government by voting for the Nazi. See, and here's the thing, like, regardless of what you're, all of these, go on a diet, my guy, you'll be in shape for the revolution by the midterms. Thanks. We're getting real close to wanting to ban this motherfucker. But the thing is, right, like, he was saying good things. He had a great platform, and the platform was a big reason why people supported him in droves. He was historically fucking popular. I mean, he got more people to show up to a Democratic primary in Maine than at any point in history, right? That is a record he holds now, right? There was a reason, and anybody who is strategic will, wants Susan Collins replaced, and so I know that, like, oh, he's the Nazi, right? But if he were truly a Nazi, and I maintain this, right? If he were truly a Nazi, there is a team he could have joined that would have welcomed him with open arms. There is quite literally a fascist Nazi government that is currently, pulling the strings and running the levers and shit, right? And so if he really was a Nazi, why would he not just go and be a Republican? And here's the thing, anything can happen now that he's out of it, and he might be bitter, and and I've seen people speculate that we might see a rightward pivot from him, and he might be like one of those anti-Israel, Republican guys, and I mean, I wouldn't believe I wouldn't, I mean, I would believe anything, right? I believe anything. I've seen enough people kind of turn heel in insane ways in my life that, it's possible, right? But I think that one of the saddest things about Graham, and all this shit that happened with Graham, right? I mean, obviously, like, it sucks, the accusations and the fact that, like, he's been accused of horrible things, and that sucks, and it's just sucks for people hurt by this guy, right? But as somebody who has a vested interest in seeing Susan Collins removed from power, it really does seem like we don't know who is now. We're almost a month past the primary. We don't know who is going to be running against her in November, right? And another thing that's it's sad, but I do think that this situation that happened in Biddeford, actually, is going to, if the Maine Democratic Party cannot fuck this shit up, right, and run somebody who is at all strong, and they have a front runner right now, Troy Jackson, has given a couple of speeches, and he's come out real hard swinging, very much against Susan Collins, against, just ICE and all that, right? And is saying a lot of the same things that, Graham was saying, but doesn't have the sordid past, right? I feel like the Maine Democratic primary or party they are not going to. I feel like he is too good. they are going to put in a Tim Kaine. I feel it in my bones that this guy, they have it clear, this guy's polling well against Susan. He's like at 40% in like the current polls of like all of like the primary people, right, as like being the most favorable, and then also is polling well. He's of all the potential candidates to replace Graham Plattner is pulling the best against Susan Collins from what I've seen. And I just feel like they're just, I feel like the Maine Democratic Party is going to be just determined to lose this but I think that this moment, as tragic as it is, I think is disastrous for Susan's campaign. I think that she had a boost last week when Graham Plattner dropped out, but I think that this is now, made it, there's a lot of people who are just tired of this shit. I think, nationwide, you're just tired of the constant shit. And
right. And she doesn't have the wherewithal to like follow through on a lot of these threats to like break with the party and shit. Which is why she's, losing popularity to begin with.
And and what it was her like, we need a thorough and impartial investigation. It's like, it's pretty, it's pretty partial, man. It's, it's, you can watch the video. It's guy was driving a little bit and then, guys with guns came out and swarmed him like it was, like it was a video game. Like it was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just, the house is on fire. Like it's not like the idea that anyone, it's like the Israel thing, but it's more insane because it's here and we literally can just see it. Like people can go outside, obviously in some places people can go outside their fucking house and see ICE doing this shit. But like it's really like insane at this point for people to be like, yes, ICE should be investigated, and those who broke the law should be. And it's like, no, fucking shut the whole thing down, and put the fucking ICE agents on trial and in prison. But like, if you're not gonna like completely like tear this fucking agency apart and put Tom Homan on trial and put what's her name with the weird face, put her on trial and put Stephen Miller on and it's like this needs to be some serious fucking, like, again, I'm gonna be a broken record with China, but like if you're corrupt in China, you die. Like at the very least you go to prison, but like it is like we can have a fucking country where we actually deal with and like squash this shit and go forward with a new and better direction. But we've, people have gotten used to us not doing that for so long, but it's time. And we have DSA with some momentum, and I think now is the time. Yeah, China did have a revolution, and it didn't, how their revolution didn't happen overnight. So we gotta start somewhere.
Okay, and so then Jonathan Swift 89, the onus of providing evidence is not on the victim but on the perpetrators of the act. Ni hao, baby. Yeah. So anyway, so that's my little rant about Maine and ICE and all this, and it's very deeply sad, but it just sucks. It is just this unfortunate thing, and I hope in my heart that if there is a silver lining to all of this, it is that, well, one more fascist, one more fascist sympathizer, fascist, enabler in Congress loses their job, which I think, and hopefully loses it to somebody who is very loudly anti-fascist, very good politics, very good takes, and good, and good opinions on things, who also, stands by it. But yeah, so anyway, let's get back to funny stuff, because this is this is very funny. Pete Hegseth his is announced that well, let's let Pete Hegseth look at this piece of shit. Look at this fucking this Muppet, this skin suit. Let's have him tell you what the Department of War, that's what we call it now, by the way, the Department of War is doing.
At the Department of War, we have the most elite warriors on the face of the earth. Every single day, you are pushed to your absolute physical and mental limits to master the profession of arms.
He looks like AI.
We demand your all, and you give it.
Mm-hmm.
But while we invest heavily in our weapon systems, platforms,
looks like
and
a Muppet
gear,
made of human skin.
our most decisive tactical advantage will always be the individual warfighter. We have a sacred duty to maintain that advantage, which is why we must constantly look for new ways to optimize your performance, your resilience, and your long-term health. And to meet that commitment today, I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members, ensuring you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best. Because it's well-established science that as we age, testosterone levels often naturally drop. Under the supervision of our world-class medical professionals, warfighters age 30 and older are going to be tested annually as part of their periodic health assessments. A health assessment that happens every year. We're just adding this test. Those under 30 can voluntarily choose to get the test as well. If treatment is recommended, it's entirely your choice to receive testosterone replacement therapy. This initiative, it's not about artificial enhancement.
Gender-affirming care.
It's about restoring and optimizing your natural capabilities, protecting your longevity, and ensuring you have the biological foundation required to sustain the fight. We owe our warriors the absolute best medical care in the world, and this program delivers on that obligation. Taking care of your long-term health means ensuring you remain strong, resilient, and capable, not just for your next deployment, but for the rest of your life, so you can thrive long after you take off the uniform. As we know, the modern battlefield is brutal and unrelenting. It requires and demands maximum psychological and mental readiness. And by addressing these health markers early, we're keeping you on the leading edge of lethality and giving you the same level of support that you give this nation, the absolute best. Godspeed, keep going, and God bless.
Keep going with what?
keep going, man. I think that Pete Hegseth should have to submit his testosterone levels monthly. I think we should be informed of what his I want like an app that monitors what Pete Hegseth's testosterone is at any given point in time.
Yeah. He's wayfish.
Yeah. he was like a Fox News host. He's like like it's
like I can't imagine being like a career military guy. And I have no no tear comes to my eye. I don't put an American flag and a yellow ribbon outside, but when it comes to the military, it's like, can you imagine being a career military guy and this fucking little group comes in?
Like, he's like,
get your testosterone checked. Like what the fuck?
Fucking testosterone.
Like who's that even for? He's like, as we age, we get the dude, aren't the fucking Maine soldiers like 23? Like that, I think they're fine. They're good on their T.
I just want to know what this is a cover for. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the real goal of this, right? Like, this is what they're saying, right? But
Yeah.
we know just from experience with this administration, right?
Yeah.
Um, just everything they say and do is a smokescreen for whatever they're actually doing, which I'm pretty sure, within 10 to 20 years for all of this, if we're all still around, if we're all still alive, if we all survive, right?
Mm.
There will be, and society is functioning as it currently does, right? There'll be Netflix or whatever streamer documentaries, about, well, turns out when they said this, right, they were doing this, right? We're going to find out a whole
Yeah.
bunch of that, right? We're going to be
Yeah.
finding out, we're going to be spending the next, probably the rest of our lives finding out the depth to which this administration was evil and nightmarish and corrupt for the rest of our lives, right?
Oh yeah, it's like
Um,
Nixon and Reagan, or
Exactly. You still find out shit about that 50 years and 60 years later, right? And I just wonder what could they possibly be doing here that they're like, yeah, we're gonna be testing for testosterone, but it's like, and then if your testosterone is low, we're gonna hit you with an experimental drug. We're gonna have Hulk. We're gonna just have Hulks. We're gonna just be sending in
yeah.
Hulks.
Captain America.
Just fucking literally, like, Iran in like 6 months is just gonna be looking like Infinity War, like the Infinity War trailer. You're just gonna have big green motherfuckers just on the
Yeah.
battlefield.
So that's an interesting one. Yeah, the RFK's diet and testosterone that they'd buy from him. Yeah, I mean, I know I know you're kind of joking at least, but like, I'm sure like a lot of the stuff they do, to your point, Justin, about like the ulterior motives, a lot of it is like public-private partnership scams and just kind of giving no bid contracts to some fucking
Oh yeah,
PT Barnum ass. But also, like, I think there's also an element like it is with the ICE, the high profile ICE shit, where they're like, look, we got fucking illegals, and it's like, it's a show. It's like red meat for the base, it's like they need like a constant flow of shit so that MAGA people can watch the news and go like, oh, it's good, they're doing the testosterone, I hear that's for man stuff. Like,
yeah.
that's
Oh
like,
yeah, war fighters.
yeah, it's like some of it's literally that.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, I want my war fighters to be, I want them to be fucking just zonked on the testosterone, man. Just fucking strung out on the tea, man. Also, I want to highlight a comment by Anacho. Your diagonal woodcut behind you is an optical illusion if you stare long enough. Hell yeah, baby. Ooh, you're getting very sleepy. Because you haven't had your testosterone treatment today. You're getting
right.
very sleepy. But yeah, that's like just, some of that hilarious, but also scary shit, where it's just, like, what could that be for? What could that truly be for, Like what is the real goal of the widespread testosterone testing, and are they gonna just be doing just, are they gonna be like, is it gonna be like steroids in like the in like MLB, dude? Like, is it just gonna be
Oh god,
like
yeah.
a bunch of like Sammy Sosas and fucking Mark McGuire's out there, just these roided up fucking creatures, just like trolls from Lord of the Rings movies. Just, it's hilarious. It's also scary, which is a lot around Trump.
I don't know. Like we're gonna hear about shit from these ICE detention centers and shit. Like, I don't know. Everyone's waiting for this moment of like, it's not like Nazi Germany because they had this, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, the thing is, like, a lot of it we do have in some form, and a lot of it, like, they didn't know the extent until later. Like, I think, just like now, I think a lot of German people at the time probably did know to some level that like they knew what was going on, but like yeah, it's just like how much information can you really have? And yeah, we're gonna find out some really horrifying shit because people are dying that we know of already.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's awful. Okay, so let's okay, and now let's look forward to the horrors of tomorrow. So the goal is to do this show, me and the Radicalize Me show, weekly. It's Wednesdays at 7. Going forward, for at least the current set of Wednesdays, right?
yeah.
So depending on how big of an announcement this is tomorrow, maybe we'll talk about it next week. But I at least want to just kind of end the show off today talking about just and watch this video, because let me see. Oh wait. So Trump is delivering, I think it's 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, right? Is it 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow? He's delivering. He's talking to the nation.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't hear much about this.
Yeah. So, and there's some speculation on what he could be saying, but people are thinking like, oh, they're finally doing no more democracy. It's been speculated for a while. He's loudly exclaimed how much it's like, I really don't like democracy. I'm really want to, we really need to exit stage left on, like do a series wrap on democracy. Right. And
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it could be the like federalizing of the elections or something. Like
yeah,
I know they were
exactly.
talking
All
about that.
elections are handled by us, the trustworthy ones. Here we go.
The president has announced plans to deliver a rare primetime speech to the nation on Thursday night. And this morning, we've learned more about what he is planning to address. NBC's senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez with the details now. Gabe, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. The president did not specify what he'd be talking about during the speech, scheduled for 9 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. And while it comes amid those escalating tensions with Iran, MS Now reports, citing 2 White House officials, the president is expected to address newly declassified intelligence, which the administration claims reveals plans by foreign nations to interfere in the 2020 election. 3 people familiar with the effort tell NBC News that a White House task force had been gathering thousands of pages of documents from U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies, including information related to the 2020 election, signs of ballot irregularities, and potential voting machine issues. After that election, President Trump and his allies filed multiple lawsuits, but they were overturned in large part over a lack of evidence. Elections experts and government officials, including members of President Trump's cabinet during his first term, have said there was no widespread voter fraud. Still, President Trump has continued to falsely claim the 2020 election was stolen, and he named a longtime supporter, Bill Pulte, to temporarily lead the intelligence agencies. Overnight, Democrats, including Senator John Ossoff of Georgia, argued the president is focusing on, quote, debunked election conspiracy theories and new lies to deny his 2020 defeat and attack voting rights. The midterm elections are less than 4 months away, Savannah.
All right, Gabe, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Okay, so there's also speculation. Let me see if I can't find just there's also speculation that let me see, Trump. It's funny that they brought up John Ossoff. Let me see, and so basically, there's speculation from what I've seen. I've seen speculation out there. I don't know. I can't find it now. And but I was hoping that video would just mention it. I watched the beginning of it and I was like, this probably mentions it. But that basically Trump is going to, speculated at least to, right? This is one of the speculated things, to declare John Ossoff and another senator from Georgia declare their candidacies as illegitimate, like basically like straight up saying like, oh, the election was stolen in Georgia, and these two didn't really win, and like calling for them to be like, I don't know, removed from power or some shit, right?
Damn.
And so, and press for, just federalizing elections, and basically it's just, we're going to handle all of it, we're going to handle every election, and then surprisingly, justice will reign and a Democrat will never win again,
Ugh, Jesus Christ.
So
yeah, I mean, could be. Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, so that's supposed to happen tonight, is it? Or
no, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Night.
Okay. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it next week, or if it's really that crazy, maybe we can do an emergency stream.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I can't do tomorrow. I can't, because I got to prepare for my trip to Pennsylvania this weekend. My trip to your neck of the woods. That's right. So I can't go live. I mean, if you feel compelled, I mean, go for it.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, we paid for the month. You know what I'm saying? Might as well use it.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun, it's fun. It's exciting, I mean, just,
I mean,
it's like,
I'll reiterate that I do think like this is the moment for the left to take real power, barring some, crazy shit that Trump might do. And who knows, he might. But like, I think that there's enough momentum and there's enough like, mass discontent that like we could really get this snowball rolling down the hill. And she's not perfect. She's not my, she's not the ideal, but there maybe is no ideal. I think it's got to be AOC backed by DSA. I think we get for 2028. And there's going to be more and more allies coming into Congress. We got to do it. We got to take over again. Like we talked about earlier in the stream, like it's, if you don't seize state power, someone else will.
Yeah, I mean, and I hear you, and and I don't disagree. I mean, but it's kind of funny enough, right? It was, I kind of think that Charlemagne. This is from like a month or so ago. This is from a few weeks ago, right? And I think like, I don't always agree with this guy, and I think sometimes he can kind of be a little bit shit libby, right? But I do think that he actually kind of nails it here. I think he kind of nails it here. I actually thought he kind of cooked with this one.
Ideally, the next administration can just say, "No, this is bullshit."
What next administration?
Yeah, okay. Ideally, can I say ideally? Can I use the word ideally?
Seriously, I need everybody to open their eyes. Okay, let's stop acting for a minute.
Chris,
okay.
Yeah.
I need everybody to open their eyes. Is anything that he's doing right now letting you know, yeah, I'm just going to walk away? I'm just going to walk away in the midterms. Yeah, we're just going to give all of this up in 2028. Come on, guys. Y'all about to see some shit in America y'all ain't never seen before.
Ideally, the next administration.
Which is, I mean,
yeah,
say what you want about Charlemagne the God, but I think he cooked there, man. I mean, I think like that he kind of
yeah. It's we'll see. I mean, I think we thought he was going to do it last time. I guess he kind of tried with January 6th, but like I don't know. I think if you look at the way things have played out in similar countries, and this might strike people as weird at first, but like I think a lot about Brazil and Mexico as for the past 10 years, because in Brazil, Lula won the presidency back in, I don't know, 2018 or whatever it was. And like, then he, I think he left and came back, right? I think so. Like Bolsonaro won, and then Lula came back, beat Bolsonaro, and put him in fucking prison. And that's what you got to do. And but like that's the thing is Brazil was fucking ready for a real left leader, a guy whose voice is like raspier than fucking Tom Waits from shouting as a like union leader and like and and similar in Mexico where AMLO was the first popular leader of this party, Morena. And Morena, this might sound familiar, started as a left-wing faction in their like, center/center left, like neoliberal party. Because Mexico's system is actually very similar to ours. A lot of countries have like parliamentary systems and it's a little different, and you can have like a third or a fourth party that gets some seats and you can make a little wave that way. And but like in Mexico they basically did what DSA is doing, where they occupied space within one of the two major parties, and then the neoliberals became so unpopular that Moreno was able to take over. So there was AMLO, and now there's Claudia Sheinbaum, both from that party, and they are transforming Mexican society. So that's that's what I point to as like, you gotta fucking seize those moments or it's just not gonna happen.
I mean, I had like, back when Kamala won, right? Like I had like kind of like a dust up with like a prominent Boston comedian, because, they were very much like, you should vote for Jill Stein, and, and I just, and just, I kind of went at them, just because like they were doing that shit like on the day that she lost, and we all kind of like felt the vibe. It's like, I think she's good. I woke up that morning, it's like, I don't think she's got this. I don't think, I got a pit in my stomach. I don't think she's got this, right? And one of his reasonings was like, I think that the US needs another term of Trump to really like that's what's really going to wake up the people. And and here's the thing though, like I think to his credit, he was right. I think that if we had chosen Kamala, I think that things still would have been shitty, and maybe would have gotten shittier than they had been for the last 4 years, right? But I also think that like the trade-off is the actual like concentration camps that have been formed in the last 2 years, right? Or just the people we've lost, right? Like, yeah, maybe people are ready to wake up, but we lost Alex Preddy, right? We lost Renee Nicole Good, right? We lost what's his name? I forgot the name of the guy in Biddeford. You know what I'm saying? Like those people, you know what I'm saying? Like those people don't get to live in that potential future world if that is what in fact does happen, right? Because you are seeing, nationwide, people do seem pissed off. Like this is the first time in like a decade where I've been able to have a conversation with my mom about Donald Trump, where we're both like, yeah, fuck that guy. We hate that guy. You and me, we fucking hate this dude, like this guy sucks, right? You know what I'm saying? And that is something, and so thanks Trump for being so ineffective and bad that somebody who bought your fucking golden shitty looking sneakers is now like, man, I regret my vote,
Yeah.
Like, and like that is progress in and of itself, right?
Right.
But there's a trade-off to that. There's a trade-off, and it's the people who won't get to see that, and it just sucks, and it's depressing, and it's a nightmare. But I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. I mean, and again, like Charlemagne the God was saying, like we don't even know what the last, because these people, right, these policies, the way that this administration is behaving, it's historically unpopular. So unpopular that they went away with even releasing the official approval rating of the president. They're like, we don't need to do that, right? It's like we don't need
Yeah.
you guys how you guys feel about us. We know you love us. We know we
We like him.
yeah, yeah. We like the guy. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the way that they're acting, right? And the way that like midterms are projected to go, you would think that the administration would be taking some steps, right? That they would not be, for example, reigniting the war with Iran, which we didn't even get to today, but you know what I'm saying? Especially like, we are, teetering close to just running out of our oil reserves, right?
Yeah, it's
And so
crazy.
the way that they're behaving is unpopular, and they're just behaving worse, and it just gets worse by the day, and so they know something we don't, Joe. They know something we do not, and it is blood curdling when you think about it.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it very well could be that. I think they're also very incompetent, and um, it could be that again. It's like they kind of think they're going to be able to plan something, and then it fucking falls apart. Like, um,
Let's hope that
yeah,
they come at it with
yeah.
the same Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie energy that they've brought to like that they brought to the Iran war. Like, yeah, we're gonna blow you out of the sky. And you're like, oh wow, actually, wow, you guys are good at this. Actually, let's go back to the negotiating table. Oh, everybody thinks our deal was really bad. Actually, let's take another shot. Let's take another swing at you. Actually.
Yeah, it's insane. Um, but yeah, we'll get back into it. Was there anything else pressing, or do we want to start
I
to
think we're
wrap it?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to just thank our chatters, Jonathan Swift 89. You're very intelligent, and I liked a lot of your insight. I don't know if you're still here, Jonathan Swift 89, but I appreciate you for being part of this chat. Inachu, you are just incoherent and amazing. And Howie Mandel goes to boot camp. Hell yeah, baby. The early 2002 gym bros were famous giving gym advice saying you should never take pure tea as the cuts are too much and should mix tea with the female version of tea. LOL. That makes no sense to me. That does not seem like a coherent thought in the least. But I love that you were
That's all right
here, and
with
I
me.
love. And thank you for the 5 gift subs earlier. You are a homie and a legend. You
Yeah,
rule.
that's awesome. It's great because like you guys can probably tell we're just starting out with this. I've done
Mhm,
a little streaming on this channel myself, a year
mhm.
ago or whatever, and it's cool that even just having a few people in here, some of you guys are jumping in to
Yeah.
participate. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for keeping the conversation going. Also, fuck you, Dito A, for the fat joke, and then beat the fascist government by voting for the Nazi. Like, bro, like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like,
Oh yeah, he was
no.
the like buzzword machine last time,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, I think wasn't that the same person who was like
Yeah.
AOCIA, right? That
Yep,
was
yep.
the
There's
yeah.
a book about this guy. It's cool to get to meet him.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, man. But so thanks to everybody. If any of you are still around, I got one viewer on my son on Twitch at least. But yeah, I had a lovely time, and I guess we'll see y'all at 7 p.m. next week.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.